Hello, guys. Waiting for a few people to come in and we'll get started. Hope everyone had a great day today. I had a long day. A lot going on, as always. Well, my name is Liz Daniels, and I'm a blended family strategist, and I'm here tonight to talk about blended family relationships, or before we even get to that part of the blended family, before we get there, we need to talk about blended family relationships. So we're going to be talking about blended family relationships tonight. So you say a blended relationship. So what is a blended relationship? Well, let me tell you. If you're dating and you have a child, you're in a blended relationship. If the person that you're dating, if they have a child, you're in a blended relationship. Anywhere there is a child or children involved, that is a blended relationship. So, hi, Miss Angel. Glad for you to come on tonight. So, we're talking about a blended relationship. We're defining what is a blended relationship. So, we have so many people, Gen Zs, what they call them, Gen Zs, and I forgot the other name, Alpha something or other. Y'all have to tell me what it is. And probably coming out of the end of the millennials as well. And statistics are telling us that in the future that there's not going to be a traditional family because all the families are going to be blended. And so I want to give you some tools tonight. We're going to get started. We're probably going to do a little pop on every night and give you guys some tips and some little nuggets on how to start or things to put in place with a blended relationship. So if you know somebody that's in a courtship, somebody that's engaged, somebody that's thinking about getting married and they have children, please share the video so they can come on tonight, share the live so they can come on and get some insight. I have well over 35 years of marriage in a blended family, raising a blended family. So I know a little something. And so tonight, we're going to talk about the blended relationships. Miss Angel says, yes, this is so needed. Yes, ma'am, it is so needed. I run into so many people all the time, out and about, in different venues, different in the marketplace, people that's complaining about their relationship, they're complaining about their blended family. Some people are at wit's end. And so what I want to do is, before you even get to the marriage, let's talk about some things that we can put in place during the courtship, during the dating process. And so both parties need to sit down in the beginning when they're getting really serious about marriage and serious about wanting to start a family together. It's some things that they need to put in place, some things they need to talk about, some things they need to discuss. Like, what are your views on a family? Because, see, everybody don't view a family the same way. And it depends on how you were raised, how you were reared. People's perspectives can be different. Their views can be different. So that's the main thing. Because, see, sometimes we just automatically think a person think the way we think. And they don't always think the way we think. My husband and I, we counsel marriage couples, blended families. And so we often find out that people say, oh, we talked about everything. We discussed everything. Okay, so did you talk about this? Did you talk about that? Did you talk about this? No, we didn't talk about that. Well, you didn't talk about everything. That's why you need a blended family coach like myself. Me and my husband are a blended family strategist. I deem myself as blended family strategist. Do I have a perfect family? No, I don't. I'll be the first to tell you. But God graced me to be able to put foundational things in place to cause our family to blend and to mesh and to come together. So in the dating process, you need to discuss your views on a family. Things like who's going to do the chores, how we're going to discipline, how often they're going to be over. Hi, Miss Margaret, thanks for coming on. How often they're going to be going over to the other parent's house, or if they're going to be going on every other weekend. And so when they go over to the other parent's house, what are their rules there? So sometimes the kids, especially when you have like teenagers on down, sometimes they're a little confused. And so you have to let them know whenever you go over to other mom or other dad's house, these are the rules here that we have established. Hi there. Thank you, Miss Margaret, for coming on. Thank you. And so we need to determine those rules. So when you switch and come over to another parent house, okay, at this house over here, this is in place. This is what we have: chores over here. We have rules over here. We have discipline over here. Because sometimes people parent different. And so sometimes they got this term now they call gentle parenting. Gentle parenting is pretty much letting the kids do what they want to do, in my opinion. It's letting the kids do what they want to do. And so we know that's a no-no, because you're going to have some issues. You're going to have some problems if you're not, if the kids are not getting structure, if they're not getting foundational things, if things are not put in place for them to go by. Because we all need rules, because, hey, that's why we got stop signs. That's how we got red lights, because we don't. People gonna be crashing all the time. People gonna be running into each other. Everybody gonna think they're right, and so those are why we have to put things in place, because everybody's not always right. You know, sometimes you're right, sometimes I'm right, sometimes neither one of us is right. So, becoming a family, when you're in a blended relationship. And y'all please share this out tonight, because so many people think it's paramount. So many people need to hear this. They don't know they need to hear it, but they need to hear it. Because sometimes, as I'll speak from a woman perspective, sometimes women, they get so excited about getting married, and, you know, this is something they dreamed about all their lives, and they're ready to get married. And sometimes they overlook things, or they put up with things, or things they haven't considered, things they haven't even thought about. And then later on, once marriage takes place, then this pops up, that pops up, this pops up, and you start thinking, oh, you know, we didn't discuss that. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Oh, how are we going to handle that? And then it's a problem. And then, so, you know, I think that it's most important that if you put things in place in the beginning, that it makes the journey a little smoother going down the road. Thank you, Miss Margaret. You said definitely needed to be on the same page, especially front. Yes, ma'am. You got to be on the same page. You got to be. The Bible teaches us, the scripture teaches us, how can two walk together except they agree? So if you're not in agreement, how are you going to walk together? How are you going to raise this family? How are we going to get to our destination? How are we going to have a happy family or a happy ending if we're not on the same page? And that's what happened. And see, this happens even in traditional family. A principle is a principle in general. You know, same thing that works for a traditional family, same thing works for a blended family. And even before we get to that blended family, we're talking about things that we need to put in place before marriage, things that we need to implement, things, foundational things that we need to discuss, because if I'm dating someone, and it's someone that I'm considering marrying, you know, someone that I'm going to bring my children in the midst of, to help me raise my children, that is one of the most, in my opinion, and I think it is one of the most important decisions that you can make, because you really need to consider who are you putting over your child or entrusting your child welfare to. So that's not a decision that you need to make lightly. That is a decision that really, really need to be considered. I mean, really, really, really. You need to pray about it. You need to, hey, let me tell you guys, when I got married, I was so serious about it. I prayed and prayed all the way up to the altar. Because, you know, I love my husband. I call him my caramel king. I love that man. But if that was not the person that God had for me, then, okay, then let me accept it and let me move on. I didn't want to continue in a relationship that if that person was not who God had for me, then I'm going to have some issues and I'm going to have some problems. Then you got to deal with the emotional hurt. Then you got to deal with the rejection. Then you got to deal with the people saying this and the people saying that. And so, not that we live in a We live in an imperfect world, and not that everything's going to be perfect. Even when you do all those things, have all those things in places, you're still going to have issues. You're still going to have situations and circumstances and things that come up. But if we build a foundation to the best of our ability, a good, strong, solid foundation in the beginning, then when the tests and the storms and the wind come, then we'll be able to handle it better. We'll be able to withstand the storm. And storms and tests will come. So we're talking about blended relationship, things that we need to discuss, things we need to talk about. When you're thinking about, when you get real serious about, want to go to the next level, want to go to the next step, want to put a ring on it, those kind of things. So things that we need to discuss, things we need to talk about. What are your views of a family? You need to ask the person that you want to marry, what are your views? What are your views? What are your views? How was you raised? So sometimes how we're raised, we implement that into our own raising our children. So depends on how we was raised. Sometimes some people, if they came up really, really strict, then sometimes they're a little more relaxed. And sometimes too relaxed. Sometimes people that came up, that was raised really strict, they are really, really strict. And so, they're just like cut and dry. They just got bread, no jelly, no peanut butter, no sweetness. And so we have to find out these things on how people was raised and their views on a family and where they want the family to go. And that's something else. Where do you want this family to go? Where do you see this family going? What are your desires? What are your dreams? We need to find out, Sometimes people like, I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go along the way. No, we need to have something, something in place, some type of goal in place where we want to go, where we want to take this family, where we want to take this relationship. We need to have something in place. And so that's why we need to come together and talk and discuss our dreams, our views, and all that. Oh, this is a great question to ask. Wow. Yes, ma'am. It is. It's really, I can't tell you how many people that we have counseled that is a problem. That discipline is a biggie. Discipline kids is a biggie because, again, like I said, it depends on how you was raised. Sometimes you think it's no big deal. Oh, it's no big deal. And another person, oh, it's a really big deal. And so we need to take that really big deal and not so much a big deal. We need to take and mesh that together. And so we can come up with a good discipline plan. And you do need that, bring that balance with the child, because a child do need a discipline, but then a child got to get encouragement. They got to get praise. They got to get loving. And sometimes, one parent can be a little stricter than the other, but then that's when you need those both to bring that balance, bring that balance. You can't have two hard, stern parents, and you can't have two easy, mamsy-pamsy, run over parents, because then the kid gonna come up really spoiled and rotten. So you need to have that balance. So those are things that you need to talk about. And if you don't have those skills, then these are things that you need to work on before marriage. And in the beginning of the marriage, these are things that you need to work on. These are things that you need to work on developing so you can bring that to the marriage. And you can be able to raise the children together in, on the same page. Okay, so those are things that I'm going to be just popping on this week. And, I'm going to be doing this little things that just give you some tidbits and giving you some nuggets on things that you can think about in the blended family relationship. Because I think oftentimes we wait till we get married, and then you go and put things in place, or then, oh, we need counseling, oh, we need help. But you really need to get the help before time so it can make the transition, because statistics says that it takes 3 to 5 years for a family to blend. So you need to put things in place and have it in motion before the marriage. Discuss things. What we're going to talk about. How we going to do this? How we going to do that? Thank you, Miss Margaret. I appreciate that. Yes, ma'am. Much needed. I will share. Thank you so much for sharing that. And like I said, I'm gonna be popping on and just giving out little tidbits, because I feel like if we can get people engaged, more engaged in before the marriage, for as it comes to a blended family, like I said earlier, you are in a blended relationship or a blended family if a child is involved. If you have a child, if the other person has a child, anywhere there's a child or children involved, it is a blended relationship. And sometimes, in some cases, we have people that don't have a child. They never had a child. They're not a mother or they're not a father. And so that's another whole spin there, because we kind of gotta catch them up. They gotta get that. They got to get to the point where they feel that motherly love or that fatherly love. So we're gonna have to get them up into to that place. Get them up into that place. Miss Margaret, I see it says bring them on video. Are you? I don't know if you were asking me to bring you up on a video. I'm not sure what that means. But so we're gonna have to get them up to speed. We have to get them up so they can get that. Because it's hard sometimes when you just throw a person into a relationship and they're not even used to being around kids, or you don't even know the first thing about kids, and sometimes they get judged kind of harshly. And so that's another thing we're going to be talking about too. So you guys, please hang in there with me. Please share the video. Let everybody know. I'm going to try to come on at 7. That's not a promise, but I'm trying to come on at 7 every night. I may sometime I may come on earlier than that. Depends on how my day goes by. But I really want to help couples, engaged couples, couples that's thinking about getting married, couples that's been together for a while, say, oh, we need to go ahead and get married because, you know, we've been at this for a while. Or even blended families, even if they're already married. But I feel like if we can get people in the earlier stage, we can help them more, and it can create a more solid foundation. And so when they get married, it'll make the process smoother and easier. And I want to thank you for coming on tonight. And y'all just look out for my videos. I'm just going to be popping up here, popping up there, and giving out some tidbits. Thank you so much for coming on. And if you'd be so kind to share the video, I greatly appreciate it. You all have an awesome night tonight. Thank you for coming on. Bye-bye.